Okay, so if you think you had a hard time following all the players in what's happening in the Middle East, we have the same confusion. Not the same thing happening, obviously, but in Sudbury. So Paige McPherson will walk through us the controversy about a by-election that happens tomorrow in Sudbury.
That's right. So there is a by-election happening tomorrow provincially in Sudbury, Ontario, and to put this into context, it's really shadowed by what is a potentially criminal investigation going on. To give you the background, Premier Wynne had asked a candidate, Andrew Olivier. He was the candidate in the last election in Sudbury.
Liberal candidate.
Liberal candidate, yes. And he's a quadriplegic. He's a champion of those kinds of issues surrounding disabilities, and generally very well liked in the community. I actually met him when I was on the campaign trail with Wynne last year. So she had asked him not to run in this upcoming by-election. She had a different preferred candidate. Actually, the NDP MP in that area was stepping down and wanted to run for the Liberals provincially, Glenn Thibeault. So crossing the floor and, of course, crossing from federal to provincial, good candidate for them, good get. So Wynne decided that she wanted that candidate. She wanted to ask Andrew Olivier not to run. Now, because Olivier is a quadriplegic, he doesn't write things down himself. He records every conversation. So all the conversations that he had regarding this thing that Wynne wanted for him not to run were recorded. And that really has led to what's now evidence in this potential case going on. He's alleging that Wynne's chief of staff and a Liberal organizer, so, you know, indirectly, Premier Kathleen Wynne, through different avenues, was trying to offer him a job in order to not run, in order to step down, which of course is illegal. It's well, it's under the criminal code. It's in the anti-corruption section, and it's also banned under the Ontario Elections Act. So it's, you know, potentially criminal, and also could be a violation of the Elections Act. And now the NDP are saying could be a violation of the Elections Act, and so we see that the police are going in and investigating.
Okay, so and this is the accused or the person being investigated is the chief of staff, Kathleen Wynne's chief of staff, Patricia Sorbera?
That's right. So, excuse me. So Pat Sorbera and the Liberal organizer locally in Sudbury, who also is involved in these kinds of conversations, Jerry Lougheed, they are both a part of this investigation. So now Andrew Olivier has handed over his tapes, has said that he's speaking to Elections Ontario as well as speaking to the police about this, and they are investigating those recordings, wherein, you know, I listened to both of the recordings. There is an offer of something made. The question, I guess, is going to be, does it have to be a specific job that is offered? Or, as the Liberals are saying, as they said all along, as the Premier's office is saying, we were just offering for him to stay involved in the party.
We'll take care of you.
Yes.
One of those kind of conversations.
Well, I can give you the direct quote from Lougheed, for example. We would like to present you with options in terms of appointments, jobs, whatever. So we're not saying, here you go, why don't you be the campaign manager and we pay you for this? This is a specific job. But you are saying, we want to have a conversation with you, present you with your options if you were to step down, which we really want you to, and those options include jobs or appointments. And Sorbera offered Olivier basically a laundry list of different things that he could do: constituency assistant, provincial commission seat. These are all jobs that she sort of spitballed as options, but of course there wasn't a contract, there wasn't a direct offer made. So, so I guess that's the question.
Yeah, there's a verbal contract. That's an agreement. It's not. You're right. It's not paper.
Right. My point, I guess, is that it's not a specific job. They didn't come to him saying there is a specific job. And I think that is one of the nuances in this, because they have to determine, the police have to determine, in the criminal code, for example, the criminal code bans government officials from offering any reward, advantage, or benefit in exchange for political favors.
That's an advantage and a benefit in my mind, okay.
Right, and then the Ontario Elections Act bans offering a job to someone in exchange for not running in an election. So that's specifically in it. So I would say that
now the wrinkle is Olivier runs. He's running as an independent.
He is. He's still running as an independent in the election. Right now in the polls, according to the latest Forum poll, the NDP's candidate as well as the Liberal candidate,
Suzanne Charbonquit,
is the NDP candidate.
Correct.
The Liberal, Glenn Thibeault, who used to be an NDP MP, are kind of in a dead heat. And Andrew Olivier, who's now running as an independent, is not too far behind them. I think from his perspective, before he actually released the recordings, he was not running for the Liberals. He was was sort of saying that something fishy happened, and people were saying that he was crying wolf. This is according to Andrew Olivier. So he said, I had to release the tapes, and now, because the tapes have been released, there's a police investigation going on, I guess at 2 levels.
Okay. Now, the by-election, though, is tomorrow, isn't it?
Right.
So not enough time for charges to be laid, but it's tainting the water of this whole election.
Well, absolutely. And it reminds me so much of what happened in the provincial election itself, when there was this dark shadow hanging over the Premier's office because, reportedly at that time, the anti-bracket squad was raiding the Premier's office because of an alleged document deletion cover-up about the gas plant scandal. That OPP investigation was ongoing at that time. So now there's this investigation going on, sort of dark shadowing over the by-election. And I think a lot of concerns that some people have expressed about this
Dollar late and a penny short on this thing, though. Like the OPP is looking into it, but they're not going to do anything before tomorrow.
Before tomorrow, they can't. That's right. And the OPP said, well, Andrew Olivier never reached out to us before, but now that the tapes have been released, there is the evidence. And they criticized the fact that he released the tapes on social media or leaked them to somebody who did, instead of giving them directly to the police. So the sort of question surrounding this is the fact, for some people, and I think it's important to note, that the Ontario Provincial Police Association was very, very, very supportive of the Liberals in the last election. And that was sort of a question that was raised at that time. Well, you've got this ongoing investigation, and the Ontario Police Association not only donated, they've donated almost $34,000 to the Liberals, but they also campaigned against the PCs. So there's a lot going on here. And of course, the by-election tomorrow might not be impacted.
Well, we should hold the OPP a little bit more responsible. Paige, thank you so much.
Thank you.